everyone, this is your teacher, Ma'am Bell, and I would like to welcome you to my virtual classroom, Mathematics 5, Quarter 3, Week 1. In this lesson, you will be learning about visualizing percent and its relationship to fractions, ratios, and decimal numbers using models. Using percent sign everywhere, like for example in the market, malls, magazines, newspapers, and even your cell phones or tablets. So it is very important that you know and understand the meaning of percent as well as the relationship of percent to fractions, ratios, and decimals. But before we continue, let us first recall fraction. Look at the figure on the side. Into how many parts the whole is divided? Okay, very good. How many parts are shaded? That's correct, okay? So you can write your answer using fraction. The whole is divided into 4 equal parts. 2 parts are shaded. So therefore, the answer is 2/4 or 1/2. If the whole is 100%, how many percent are shaded? Okay, so since there are 2 parts that are shaded, therefore, this part here is 50%. And how will you write 50% in decimal number? Okay, 50% is equal to 50 hundredths in decimal number. Okay, so how will you get the ratio of the shaded part to the unshaded part? So there are 2 shaded parts and 2 unshaded parts. Therefore, the ratio of the shaded parts to the unshaded parts is 2:2 or 1:1. So read and understand the problem. Luis and Ernie earned 100 pesos for selling junk. They gave 75 pesos to the mother and spent 25 pesos to buy candies. What percent of the earnings did they give to the mother? What percent did they spend? So how did Luis and Ernie earn money? They earned money for selling junk. Very good. How much did they earn? They earned 100 pesos. That's correct. How did they spend their earnings? That's right. They gave 75 pesos to the mother and spent 25 pesos to buy candies. So let's study the figure below. This figure represents Luis and Ernie's earnings and savings. The 100 small boxes or small squares show the total earnings, while the 75 shaded boxes or small squares represent the amount given to their mother. Okay? So it was in the 15th century when the idea of percent began. It came from the Latin word percentum, which means for every 100. Percent means for every 100. It is a ratio of a number to 100. It is represented by the symbol percent. This one. Okay? So 75 out of 100 can be written as percent. So it can be 75%. In ratio, it can be 75:100. Fraction, 75 over 100. And decimal, 75 hundredths. Let's compare the shaded part in each grid. The first grid represents fractional part, which is 75 over 100. Next grid represents 75 to 100 as ratio. Okay? So followed by the decimal, which is 75 hundredths. And the last one is 75%. Represents percent. So if you compare the fractional parts, they are all equal. So how do we change percent to fraction? So we are now on changing percent to fraction. Okay? So percent may be written in a fraction form. To change percent to a fraction, remove the percent symbol and write the number as numerator. Okay? Then 100 as denominator. So this is from the definition that percent means for every 100. Okay? So change the fraction to lowest term if possible. So this is 1/4. How about changing percent to decimal? Percent may also be written as a decimal number. So to change percent to a decimal, write percent as a fraction. Then divide the numerator by the denominator. So 75 divided by 100 is 0. And what are we going to do is add decimal point and 0. And then copy the decimal point in the quotient. And then divide as if a whole number. So 750 divided by 100, that is 7. 7 times 100 is 700. Then subtract, equals 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. And then add 0 in the dividend and then bring down. And then divide. 500 divided by 100 is 5. 5 times 100 is 500. And then subtract. The remainder is 0. So our answer or the quotient is in decimal form. So that is the decimal form of 75%. Okay? And we have another way of changing percent to decimal. So to change percent to decimal, just change the percent sign or symbol to a decimal point. Okay? And then move the decimal point 2 places to the left. 1, 2, and the decimal point. Okay? And that becomes 75 hundredths. That is the short method. Another one is changing percent to ratio. Percent is a ratio with 100 as the second term. Do you still remember the term? The first term, second term, third term, and fourth term. So here the ratio has two terms, the first term and the second term. So percent is a ratio with 100 as the second term. So to change percent to ratio, remove the percent sign and write 75 as the first term and then 100 as the second term, since percent means per 100. Okay? So that is percent to ratio. So let's continue with our lesson. This time we are going to identify the three elements of percent. So let's explore and discover this problem. So 75% of the 40 pupils of Mrs. Tapalya like mathematics. How many pupils are math lovers? Okay, the question is, how many pupils does Mrs. Tapalya have in all? There are 40 pupils. Okay, so Mrs. Tapalya has 40 pupils. Then, what is 40 in the problem? 40 here tells us the whole number or the total number of pupils. And that becomes the base. It is called the base of the element of percent. And how many percent of the pupils like mathematics? How many percent? It is said here 75%. And that is the answer to our question. How many percent of the pupils like mathematics? 75% of the pupils of Miss Tapalya like mathematics. Okay? And what is 75% in the element of percent? That represents what? It represents the rate, which can be expressed as a ratio or as a fraction. Okay? So 75% is the rate. Another question, how many people love mathematics? It is not stated in our problem. That will be the problem that we are going to solve, diba? Okay, so how many people love mathematics? we don't know what is 75% of 40. Okay, so to find the missing element, we'll just multiply 40 by 0.75. And the answer is 30. Okay, so there are 30 pupils who love math. And that 30 pupils in the element of percent is the percentage. Okay, so 30 is the percentage. It is the part of the whole. It is taken from the whole part. So that represents percentage in the element of percent. So what are the three elements of percent? Okay, so let's study this example. 75% of 40 is 30. So when you say 75%, that represents the rate. Okay, so rate is given as percent. It has a percent sign. It can be expressed as a ratio or fraction like 75 over 100. Okay, so what about 40? 40 here is the base. So when you say base, it is a whole number of which you take the percent. So base is the number that usually follows the percent of. This one. Of. Then the base. Okay? And then 30 here represents the percentage. What do you mean by percentage? When you say percentage, it is a part of the whole. Okay? So it is the resulting fractional part of the base. It is usually follows the word is or equal sign. No? This is what we call as the percentage. So these are the three elements of percent. We have the rate, base, and percentage. It is very easy to remember when you say rate, it has the sign of percent. When you say base, it follows the phrase percent of, and then when you say percentage, it follows the word is. So let's explore and discover this problem. A survey conducted among 120 grade 5 pupils of San Jose Elementary School showed that 45% like swimming. They found that 54 out of 120 pupils like swimming. Okay, so how can we identify rate, base, and percentage? We have another way or method to identify the three elements of percent by the use of this Tietjens triangle, this one. Okay, so this is what we call as the Tietjens triangle. Okay, so we're going to identify the three elements of percent from our problem here. So just follow the triangle. It is divided into three equal parts, the P, R, and B. Okay, so this is useful when you are in formulating the formula of percent. So P here in our problem, that is percentage. What is percentage in our problem? It's a part of the whole. It forms a fractional part of the base. So this one, 54 out of 120. So the percentage is 54. And what about the rate? The rate is the one that has a sign of percent. So rate here is 45. And the base, of course, which is the total number of the grade 5 pupils, which is 120. And that is the base. Okay? What I have learned. Percent means for every 100, and it can be expressed as a fraction whose denominator is 100. Percent is also a ratio of a given number to 100. Percent can be written as decimal numbers by moving the decimal point of the number 2 places to the left. And percent is very important because it is used in our real life situation like discounts, interest, and many others. Okay, so there are three elements of percent. Again, the first one is percentage. So percentage of a number Getting the percentage of a number is getting a specific part or portion of that number. The portion or percentage may be smaller or less than 100, equal or exactly 100%, or greater than, which is more than 100%, the base number itself. Okay, we also have rate. It is the percent. It is very easy to recognize in the problem for it has the percent symbol. And the last one is the base, which is the original amount. It's usually the whole part. Okay, let's try to answer the assessment orally, okay? So, choose the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. What term means per 100? What's your answer? Base, percent, percentage, or rate? The answer is percent. Okay, very good. Number 2, which of the following is correct? Letter A, letter B, letter C, or letter D? Letter A. Very good. Okay, number 3, 45% of the grade 5 pupils are girls. Express 45% as decimals. How do you write 45% in a decimal form? A, B, C, or D? That is letter B. Very good. Okay, number 4. In the statement 35% of 600 equals 210, which is the percentage? Okay, letter C. That's right. Very good. Let's continue with number 5. Which does not belong? A, 21%, B, 21 over 100, C, 21 is to 100, D, 21. What's your choice? Yes, letter D. Okay, number 6. Which element of percent represents part of the whole? A, base, B, percent, C, percentage, D, rate. Part of the whole is letter C, which is percentage. Okay, number 7. In a survey on the choice of pizza, 900 out of 1,500 people preferred brand A to brand B. What percent preferred A? What is the missing element? Okay, so 9 out of 1,500, the missing element is the rate, letter D. Number 8, what is the missing element in the problem? A big theater has 1,400 seats. During a concert, it is 95% full. How many seats were taken? So, what will be your answer? Letter A, base, B, percent, C, percentage, D, rate. The answer is letter C, percentage. Number 9. Which element of percent represents the whole? A, base, B, percent, C, percentage, D, rate. Represents the whole is what we call as the base, letter A. And last number, how many is 75% of a class? So what is 75% in fraction form? That is letter C. Okay, so who got perfect? Okay, very good. So, try to answer your module this time, okay?